I'm being joined on the program by the Senior Special Assistant to President Buhari in the Office of the Vice President, Mr. Laolu Akonde, who joins us from our Abuja studio. It's good to see you, Mr. Akonde. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let me get your reaction to some of the views of the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, on the state of affairs in Nigeria, especially the handling of the economy under President Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, thank you, Sean, for the opportunity. Let me say very clearly that if you look at the GDP figures themselves, there is a clear indication of restoration. For instance, in quarter two, the contraction was minus 6.1. But in quarter three, which figures were just released, the contraction is minus 3. So clearly, the Nigerian economy is on a rebound. So to the question of when do we think that we will get out of this this situation, I think the figures bear the truth out that already the Nigerian economy is on its way to recovery, and this is going to be mainly because of the economic sustainability plan that the president had put in place and asked the vice president to chair its development and implementation. Now, if you follow the news very closely, you will have noticed that some of the stimulus in that plan, including one-time grant for artisans, is already going on. In about 12 states, artisans are receiving a one-time grant of 30,000 naira to help them. There are testimonies of the beneficiaries all over the place. About 2 or 3 days ago, I think on Thursday, the payroll support scheme, which is also another part of the stimulus package under the Survivor Fund, just like the artisans grant, that has also already started. By Thursday, we had paid payroll support the first month. It's going to be for 3 months. We've paid over 100,000 employees of private firms who were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. And for the payroll support aspect of the Survivor Fund, we're going to be doing 500,000. Already we've done over 100,000. So very clearly, we can see that the economy is rebounding. And of course, this is mainly because of the preemptive action that the Buhari administration had taken even before now to ensure that the situation doesn't get doesn't get worse. So very clearly, the Nigerians will tell you a very certain story of recovery. Like I said, there are all kinds of testimonies, I can share with you. We receive reports every day from beneficiaries of the Survivor Fund, whether they're artisans, we're talking about tailors, we're talking about barbers, we're talking about plumbers, hairdressers, technicians all over the place, or even people who work in private schools and private transport companies who have already been receiving support. That is not to talk about the fact that even if you look at the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index of the central bank, it shows very clearly in November that the figures are picking up already. So we are confident that the Nigerian economy will bounce back very, very, very promptly, as the figures clearly show.
One of the issues raised by Mr. Peter Obi is how the monies that have been borrowed are plowed or what they are being used for. He criticized the management of those resources under this government. Would you like to react to that?
Well, the point about borrowing is that we are borrowing for capital. And there's no way that you will reflect the economy when your revenues are dwindling. And as a matter of fact, not only that, we are also trying to see what kind of tax incentives that we can give, to especially small businesses and different categories of businesses at this time. So government is dealing with the situation of declining revenues And even though we are also tightening, the belt in terms of other areas of expenditure, but the important thing is that the areas where we borrow, we borrow to reflate the economy. We borrow to put money into the economy, especially regarding capital expenditure. And if you look at our GDP, we are not in a very bad situation regarding borrowing because, without borrowing, it will be much difficult to reflect the economy. But the point is that what do we borrow for? We're not borrowing for recurrent expenditure. We are borrowing, to keep the economy going for projects. We're borrowing to build trains. We're borrowing, which is a restoration of what had been there before. We're borrowing to build roads. We're borrowing to fix critical infrastructure. I think, by and large, Nigerians have seen that the Buhari administration has been very, very clear in how we have managed to do much more, even though much less compared to the past is coming in. And this is a critical feature of the administration that shows that we are very prudent with public finances.
We have 30 seconds to go on another break, but he challenged the issue of, he said there's been exuberance in this government in terms of the management of resources, and in terms of cost of governance, he said that there's just too much that's being spent to run government. How do you react to that? Just in 30 seconds before we go into that break.
Well, it's entitled to his views, and I'm not going to say that there may not be one or two areas, that we might be able to pay closer attention to generally as a government, especially, since there are 3 tiers of government. But one of the things that has been clear in the last 5 years about the Buhari administration is that we have managed, in terms of difficulty in revenues, to spend Nigeria's resources for the welfare of the common people. So we have managed to institute, for the first time in the history of this country, a social safety net program called the Social Investment Program. We have managed to put money in the hands of people directly. We've managed to engage otherwise unemployed graduates. We've managed to do over 2 million, free, interest-free, collateral-free microcredit lending to petty traders, over 2 million of them. We have managed to do a cash transfer to over 1 million of some of our very poor people. So very clearly, this government has its own image, clearly made as to the fact that we ensure that the average Nigerians, they are being impacted by the resources of this country. But I wouldn't disagree completely that there may be one or two other areas that we need to pay attention to become even more prudent. You will remember that part of what we have done is to actually reduce the payroll scam, in the federal government. I think we've taken, over 50,000 ghost workers off the payroll, when we detected all kinds of stuff. We've started the IPs program that makes it possible for us to know exactly who is working and who is getting paid.
All right.
There are many things that is going on. We have the Treasury single account, which enables us to see what is coming in and what is going out. So we've done quite a bit, and I would say that there may not be other areas to look at, but clearly, this government has shown itself very prudent with public finances.
Mr. Akonde, we are due for another break, but when we come back, there are other critical issues as to the handling of the Buhari government of the Nigerian economy, especially now we are thinking of how do we get out of this economic quagmire. We take another break, everyone, and when we return, specific questions on the way out of the economic trouble. Find out after now, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back to the program. Let's get back to the conversation with Mr. Laulu Akonde, Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity in the Office of the Vice President. Thank you so much, Mr. Akonde. We know that the Vice President has the prerogative to look into the issues of the economy, and a lot of the issues you are very much aware of. You were describing a lot of the efforts of the federal government under the Buhari administration in getting money directly into the hands of Nigerians. But I'm very certain that the aims of these programs is to get Nigerians out of poverty. It's to get jobs into the country. But some of the figures are not quite tallying it with what some of the things that you plan to do. For example, unemployment rate stands about 7%, where we have over 82 million Nigerians that are poor. That's about 40% of the nation's population. Are you afraid? Are you worried that your aims are not meeting the output?
Thank you, Sheon. This is why the president set up the economic sustainability plan, and the idea is to not only save some of the current jobs, but to create new ones by ensuring that we have increased level of productivity. Now, so for instance, under the plan, we are going to engage and bring about 5 million farmers under the agri plan of the ESP. So what are we going to do? We are going to be enumerating 5 million smallholder farmers across the country, and I think we've already enumerated about 4 million of those already. And so what is happening now is that working through partners, we are going to be releasing funds through the CBN. CBN does have a program under the ESP that will fund the partners, that will ensure that all of these enumerated smallholder farmers get the necessary equipment, whether it be tractors, get the fertilizer, get all the yields that they need, agri extension services, so that their farming will be enlarged, so that they will be able to produce, regardless of the challenges in that sector. So under the plan, we are encouraging states to come up with about 20,000 hectares of land in each of the states, to make it available for farmers and for people to to increase the acreage of farming across the country, so that we can at the first instance deal with the issue of food security, and also ensure that we get people to work. We get more people to work. Now, that program is in progress. Like I said, we've already enumerated 4 million smallholder farmers. We also have a solar plan where we say that, okay, we are going to be installing about 5 million solar panels all across the country, and we are estimating that this will touch about 25 million Nigerians, especially those that are not currently on the national grid. Again, this is going to address the issue of the deficit in power, but also about 250,000 jobs will be created in that process. It's a huge program. And so we're going to be hiring people to install the solar panels. We're going to be hiring people to maintain it. We're going to be hiring people for the payments, and all of that, is going to happen. We also have a program where we are building 300,000 homes across the country, also part of the economic sustainability plan. Now, how do we do that? So we are getting resources, again through some very affordable lending rates of the CBN, to ensure that we build very low cost. As a matter of fact, we call it social housing, very low cost social housing, that will be available and within reach of low-earning Nigerians. So, for instance, we're going to get sets of 1-bedroom flats, 2-bedroom houses, that we go for maybe about 1.2 million naira, so that people can get mortgages and possibly pay between 9,000, 10,000 a month to own these homes. We're going to do 300,000 in this country. We also have the MSMEs program, under which we have a guaranteed offtake program, where again, through lending, we will make money available for people in specific sectors that is going on, whether it be in the health sector, for pharmaceuticals, and other areas, for research.
Mr. Akonde,
and generally,
All right, sorry, apologies
Yes.
to cut into your line of thought, but a lot of this effort that you've listed now, I'm being told now that I have just about 60 seconds to close the program. But in all of this that I have listed now, when does the government project we might exit this recession?
Yeah. So, Sheung, these projects, these programs, they are in progress. They're in progress. I have here a report, of the excitement of Nigerians. My team just gave me this report. We have stories here of Nigerians who are receiving payroll support across the country. People are excited that this is the first time that they're going to get a government benefit without knowing anybody. All of these things are happening, whether it's payroll support, whether it's artisan support. People are being touched.
All right.
And if
So,
you look at the
Mr. Akande,
figures,
my question
and
basically,
what I said.
all right. Yeah, so sorry, apologies. My question is, and I'd like you to wrap up in this manner. For example, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar suggested that since the government has the BVN of many Nigerians, and that to help people, since you have the BVN and you have the details, you can just pay some stipend to help the economy in that regard. And I was asking, when does the government project that we might exit this 2020 recession? Just if you can wrap up in next 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was where I was going before you interrupted me, Sheung. I'm saying that we have under the ESP a plan where we are going to touch 1.7 million Nigerians in the MSME sectors with different kinds of incentive stimulus packages. And we have started with the one-time grants of 30,000 to artisans, with the 3-month payroll support for people in the private sector whose businesses were affected by COVID-19. We are in the process of ensuring that people who want to register businesses now, about 250,000 of them can register it for free. Federal government is going to pay the money. We have a guaranteed off-take program in the MSME sector. People can produce face masks, PPEs, and whatnot, and they will be bought. So all of these things are going on. And if you go to social media, all the testimonies are there. And like I said, if you look at the GDP figures, quarter 2 was -6. Now, quarter 3 is -3. So you could see already that there is a growth. As a matter of fact, if you look at the quarter 3 figures that was recently released, you see that there is growth in agri. There is some appreciable growth in food, beverages, and tobacco. There is growth in the financial institutions, and there is growth in telecommunications. So very clearly, the Nigerian economy is going to rebound, and government will continue to work hard on this economic sustainability plan to ensure that we get Nigerians working again in different sectors, whether they are farmers. Like I said to you, we are going to be engaging 5 million. We have estimated 4 million. We're going to be installing solar panels all across the country. 5 million of them. It will impact 25 million people. So we have all of these combination of efforts. Not to talk about the affordable lending programs of CBN that is touching the real sectors already. And the stories are out there. We will continue, and we can assure Nigerians that we will get out of recession very soon.
Perhaps those words will bring some hope in the minds of a lot of Nigerians, where when we got the news of the recession as a bad one, but we do hope that all this will crystallize into monies in the pocket of a lot of Nigerian food on their tables. Thank you so much, Mr. Laulu Akande, for talking to us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimberley. Bye-bye.